Today on Witnesses in Training, we're talking about gospel and sharing your testimony. Have you ever had that opportunity where someone asks you about your story of coming to faith and you share your testimony, but it kind of just falls flat at the end and they answer it by saying, well, oh, that's nice. Don't you wish that you could really share your faith in the gospel in that moment, that people would respond with faith? Well, the Gospel Quotient has written a really great article called Don't Just Share Your Testimony. And it's really helped me out. I've had many opportunities of sharing my story of faith. And it doesn't have to end with just, oh, that's nice. Firstly, when thinking about sharing our testimony, it's really helpful to prepare, to have it clear in our own minds, putting the right pieces together. We need to do some editing of our story. We won't share every detail about our story of life. We need to be considerate of the people that we're talking with. How much time do we have on our hands? How interested are they? So you might want to prepare your testimony to be able to share it over 30 minutes, but shorter, like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and even 30 seconds. Here's some helpful components to consider for your story. You can share about what were your assumptions of life before you came to Christ. What did you think life was all about? What were you valuing? What were you living for? Share selective details about what you thought, how you lived, what was your life all about? How would you describe it? And then consider one aspect of Jesus that you think is worth knowing. What would you love for the person that you're talking to know about Jesus? Why is he worth sharing about? Then explain the process of your journey, some formative moments of you taking steps towards faith. What were some things that you needed to understand? What were some things that you needed to experience in order to come closer to following Jesus? This can help others because they might have those same questions or hesitations before they turn to Jesus. And you can share not just about the information about Jesus, but also how Jesus has changed your life, how he's changing you on an ongoing process. Our testimony isn't just what happened way back then, but also what God is doing in our lives today. You can express some changes of thought that have gone on through this formative process. How did you think about things before, and then how do you view things now? What things were helpful for you to understand? These aha moments. It might be like, oh, I remember when I thought that this was just an impersonal universe, and I realized that maybe there's more to life than this. Maybe there is a creator who cares about me. Before, I thought that there wasn't any meaning to my life. I thought that I was an accident on the blip of the universe. But when I realized that actually I was created for a purpose, I was created out of love, that was significant for me. For me, I was looking into all these different spiritualities, and I thought, why am I here? And then I realized that there was a God who was pursuing me, a God who cares about me, who came into human history and showed himself to us, who loved us, who cared for us, who shared in our suffering. And as we share our story, we can consider it's not just a monologue, this is a dialogue, this is a discovery moment together. And so we could be considering posing the question to others, well, what about you? Let's share the conversation. What about you? What do you think about this? What do you think? Do you think there's possibly a creative God who created the universe who cares about you? What about you? Do you think that maybe Jesus is doing a work in your life? Do you think maybe God's pursuing you? How do you think that your story might fit into what God is doing in this world? Do you think that maybe Jesus offers forgiveness for you, cleansing you from guilt and shame, that Jesus can help you with your struggles and your family situation? Well, how about you? What do you think? And then that just helps to not let the conversation fall flat on, well, that's nice for you, but actually opening up an opportunity for a decision, for a consideration. What do you think? Jesus wants to know you too. Jesus wants to encounter you and change your life and bring life and meaning and purpose into your life. What do you think about that? And in those moments, they might think, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I'm just processing this for the first time. And you could offer to have further conversation later over coffee, or maybe read about Jesus together at a coffee shop, or inviting them to your church. So as you share about your story and how God has been at work in your life, He's pursued you, He's changed you, the different thoughts that have gone on in your mind, and what God's continued to do in your life, write it down. Write down the main important parts that you'd want to have in your story, and consider how would you share your story in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. How would you share your story? And would you pray with me? Jesus, I thank you that you have been the author of our story. You've been at work in our lives through all these different circumstances and situations. And God, I pray that you would help us to craft our story in a way that is true and honoring to you, and in a way that glorifies you as the hero of our story, and in a way that can help others to discover you as well, Lord. I pray that you'd help us to prepare our story, to practice it, and to be able to share it well. In Jesus' name, amen.